Mr Farage.
Good evening.
I don't know where to start, to be honest with you, because you have got the upper hand, seeing as you're continually talking about this subject. So I shall start with, yes, I do think people are misinformed. We seem to be going on all the time about, including yourself, about manufacturing. Financial services never really seem to get a mention by most of the callers that phone in, and that is already having an impact. I have a friend who heads up a Brexit team for a major bank in London, and they have already taken £7 billion worth of business to Paris. So if you think that leaving the single market isn't going to have an effect, I don't know where you're coming from with that. It's not clearly any coming out of the single market will have an effect on the export of German cars, but we're talking about a lot bigger than that in the City of London. So what have you got to say about our loss of financial services?
Do you know what, Leanne? I spent 20 years working in that industry. My father was in that industry. My grandfather was in that industry. And my son is in that industry. Our family have spent a lot of time in commodities, financial services, stocks and shares, you name it. In many ways, it's in the blood. And I found it distressing to see 25% of our hedge fund industry leave London directly as a result of EU regulations that came in after the credit crunch of 2008. Some of them gone to Zurich, some of them have gone to Singapore and will never be seen again.
Yeah,
I find it distressing.
We need to have those regulations in order to operate within Europe.
We need, Leanne, hang on, Leanne, we need to have appropriate regulation. You know, of course we need regulation, we need appropriate regulation, and the real point, Leanne, is this.
Just on that point, Ben, okay, because now we're getting to the nitty-gritty. Who is going to make, so you're quite prepared, as along with other things, to cherry-pick the European Court of Justice for the bits that you actually want, and then, but it's not good enough for anything else. So you want
Leanne,
things that you want, but you won't accept the ECJ for the other things.
No, I won't accept them for anything. Not for anything. Right. I don't want foreign courts having financial services. You've raised this point. It's Britain's biggest industry, and it isn't just the City of London. It's people working. It's people working in Cardiff. Do you think, Leanne, the British government? Do you think the British government, mandated by the British people, should be in charge of Britain's biggest industry? Or an unelected group of people in Brussels and Luxembourg and elsewhere?
Nigel, can you cut that, please? Because that
the European Commission are all unelected, Leanne, and Leanne, listen.
They're not directly elected, the same as Theresa May hasn't been elected by us. So I think you're spinning that line again, the same as, just to change the subject, but you said, Leanne, you said about the £350 million.
Leanne, oh no, please don't go down that route. Leanne, well, you've got to get your facts right, Leanne.
What you do say is £55 million a day. That's what you said towards the EU membership. You didn't say the £350 million towards the NHS. What you clearly said was, we pay £55 million a day to be an EU member, and that is not true. You've doubled the figure. So what you do is you very cleverly spin the numbers. I spent the whole
of the referendum campaign, Leanne, saying we pay £30 million a day. Now let's get back to something substantive.
You said 55 million. And also you're very clever as well. It's not particularly suggesting, oh, Norway, yes, what's wrong with Norway? There's nothing wrong with Norway. They're a very rich country. I've seen so many clips of you, Nigel, saying that. And then when it comes down to it,
I tell you what, let's get one factual thing straight, shall we? Let's get one factual thing straight. The sole source of legislation in the European Union that governs financial services is proposed by the unelected European Commission. Not a single one of the 28,000 of them can be voted for or can be removed by the electorate. And they have the sole ability to make laws that affect Britain's biggest industry. And Leanne, whether we get it right or whether we get it wrong, I think we as a country should be in charge of our biggest industry. Leanne getting very upset there and accusing me of using a £350 million a week figure.
You didn't frankly have the balls to put country before party.